afternoon. This is like, we picked it up today. So I'm really, really happy with this. Physiognomy, when I look at the difference in faces, and I can actually see the things that people would be comfortable with because I've been doing it for so long. But on page 45, what I did is this little simple diagram. This is a really interesting thing. When you look at a face, it actually is divided into three sections, right? So the top third of your face, from the eyebrow to your hairline, everybody do this with your fingers. Now hold your fingers, you're in your hair. There you go. And then turn your thumb so that you're actually on your eyebrow instead of being between.
Lay your hand
Right
on the
there.
side.
Right there, okay? So
Yeah,
it's
you
really
actually get a measurement.
the hairline to the top of the eyebrow, then take exactly where your thumb is and move the index finger without changing the width, the eyebrow down to your nose, and then the nose to your chin. So yours is almost perfectly 1/3. Move yours down, Jim.
It didn't match up.
No, probably won't. So your learning center is your forehead, right? So this is the area where you spend in your life. This is the first third of your life where you're learning. Then you take and you move that down to your nose, and this is where you apply what you learn, right? This is where you're actually putting into practice. This is the jobs where you have to learn how to do the things that you've been taught to do. Then your wealth building sector is the bottom, right? So I'm really happy that my wealth section is long, right? I love that, because this is where all my money is coming from, right? So it was 1.5 years ago that I decided to shut my business down and focus on my speaking so I could raise enough money, $7.5 million, to build a school from scratch and take 300 boys off the streets. Because I knew my face said, it's okay to do that. Isn't that cool? So when you look at people and you start thinking about where are they in their life, right? You're in your middle third, and you have a lot longer to apply than learning or achieving the wealth, right?
Yes.
So you can actually tell these things and know what you could be doing to be more comfortable. So if the wealth isn't in your life at this point, it might be because you're not in that last third. And you need to accumulate more practice so that you have more experience, so that you're able to actually go out into the world when you do generate your wealth and be better prepared. Instead of how many people exist, there's more chairs right there. You exist, you do every day, every week, every month, every year. And you can't differentiate. Like if I had to ask you, last year, June 12th, what were you doing? Would you know? The month of June, would you know? Kind of the same, right? Well, you should be living your life where there are milestones, achievements, right? My 10th book. I wrote my first book, Mixing It Up. I called this man, Tom Chavez, in Sacramento, and I said, I hear you have a small business expo, and I want to be one of your speakers. And he said, okay, what's the name of your book? I said, oh, I don't have a book. And he said, then you can't be my speaker. Then, okay, when is the event? He said, June 3rd. I said, no problem. He said, what's the title? I said, Mixing It Up. I had 5 months to write that book. And I picked the book up the day of the event. I made every mistake possible. Literally, from my computer crashing to hiring the wrong editors to, I mean, it was like a nightmare what I did. My second book, however, took me 3 weeks. I went up to Tahoe, locked myself up in a cabin for a week, and I sat there and I wrote and walked and wrote. Exactly 3 weeks from the day I started, I picked it up, completely done. But they're milestones. See, and I can think of Tahoe and cabin, and I know, I can put myself back into that moment of writing that second book, and how much more fun that was than the first book. The worst book. This book, I will never do another research book. I knew this book had to be written. I was in San Jose speaking at a group of unemployed people, and about as many people as this, and everybody was sitting with their legs straight out, arms crossed. No one laughed. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I couldn't say a single thing to get an expression out of anybody. I was all done. Bless you. I was all done, and I asked the event coordinator, Gary, what the heck was going on? What did I do wrong? And he said, because I had been there 5 years in a row. And he said, gosh, Sharon, I should have told you, they're all ex-convicts this time. Okay, so, San Jose on Tully Road, all the way back to Walnut Creek, and I'm agonizing over this. I met a young man who was in IT for a company, lost his job, couldn't pay his child support payments, and the DA put him in jail for 2 years. Son didn't get to see him for 2 years. He now had a prison record. What do you think the chances are that he'd ever get another job in IT? Zilch. So we created a system that keep people in the system regardless. So I thought about it, and I finally figured out personality types. What can you do to start your own business and earn $50,000 a year, never have to apply for a job, never have to go through that awful feeling? My stomach just went in again, you know, churning with ice, thinking, I'm gonna apply for a job, but there's 2,000 people applying for this job, and I'm the only one with a prison record. What are the chances of me getting that job? 0. So that's why I wrote this book. 3.5 years. It was such a challenge. But I actually figured out how to take an individual's personality, their learned skills, and marry them and determine from the driver to the expressive to the amiable to the analytical what business you could start and how you can get 50% of your business referred to you, rather than feeling like you're having to ask people for business all the time. So that's how I had based my business for 20 years, is actually getting people to refer business to each other so no one had to work as hard. And then I combined physiognomy, and people were all of a sudden seeing 50% increase in sales, 200% increase in sales. David Blum was 500 increase in 2 years, and Warren Boschin, 1,200% increase in a payroll business, because they actually applied what I taught them.